Planning a fishing trip shouldn't feel like a full-time job. With fishingbooker.com, you can find and book the perfect fishing trip within minutes. Fishingbooker.com connects you with trusted fishing captains around the world. Booking is fast, easy, and secure, with access to verified customer reviews, loyalty rewards, and around-the-clock customer support. Everything you need to book with confidence is in one place. So head to fishingbooker.com and start planning your next fishing adventure today.
When the hunt matters, trust the gear that's built to perform. At Scree Gear, we design premium hunting apparel that keeps you comfortable, concealed, and ready for whatever the mountain throws your way. From early season spot and stalk hunts to late season extremes, Scree Gear is trusted by hunters who refuse to compromise. And if you want to sharpen your skills and follow real hunting adventures, watch Scree TV on Waypoint TV. Visit ScreeGear.com to gear up today. Then catch Scree TV on Waypoint TV and experience the hunt like never before.
All right, welcome back to the Survival and Basic Badass Podcast. Your hosts, Kevin and Chuck.
How's it going?
And how is it going? I can't get a new intro to that. I think every time I'm going to sound like an idiot. I got to figure that one out. But anyway, so here we are, and today we're going to talk about gun control. And gun control, well, I'm assuming if you're listening to this podcast, gun control is something that just makes your blood boil and you get enraged. I just tense up whenever I even say it. You know, I'm worried, I'm going to freaking stroke out in the middle of the podcast because this is it.
I've got pretty good self-control when it comes to that. I haven't shot my TV yet. All
right. I like that. That's a good start. And, more and more, and I'm sure this podcast isn't going to come out for about a month and, new things will happen and whatever. But it just, they're shooting after shooting and we keep seeing these things, and every chance that the media and everybody just jumps on it. Oh, we got to do something. We got to go after this. And, hopefully this podcast episode at least comes out while we still have some guns. So I don't know. A month from now, who knows? Because the way the media keeps talking and the way our president keeps demanding all kinds of excellence, we might be in trouble. Anyway, so there is a lot of celebrities and people speaking out, and some that are in favor and some that are against. And
well, I think that criteria for having an informed opinion, if you're famous, then you're obviously
informed,
got intelligent ideas. If you're really good at singing or acting, then I really want to know what your opinions are, because you're obviously intelligent.
That sounds like solid logic.
Yeah. I want to hear what Katy Perry has to say about
gun
control, because she probably has better ideas than anybody else.
If you look like that, then I guess that entitles you to some kind of an opinion. I don't know if that's trouble or what, but I don't even know which one Katy Perry is, but whatever. Yeah. It's all the same. She's the one that kisses the girls and likes it. Is that the one?
No, she's a different one altogether.
That's a different girl.
I don't know who Katy Perry is either. I think she sang at a Super Bowl, but that's about it. I'll be honest, you called me out on that. I don't really know who she is.
I just got in trouble the other day because the wife was like, well, this guy. And I'm like, I have no idea who the hell you're talking about or whatever. Don't you hear it on the radio? I'm like, I don't listen.
Yeah,
what are you talking about? Music on the radio?
There is a pop channel here that we can listen to, like, current pop music.
Right.
I just don't know what channel it is, and I have found myself accidentally
and
on
why
it.
anybody would listen to it if they did find it.
I mean, it's pop music because it's popular. Whatever.
It is popular, or at least that's what the people in charge tell us.
Yeah. And
we run out and buy it. All right, so back to gun control. Tell me.
Everybody's got opinions.
All right.
Was listening to somebody earlier today.
Yeah.
About some sort of maybe giving out a psychological test to everybody that wants to buy a gun.
All right. Sounds safe. Sounds smart.
I think that's a good idea. Some of the criteria I would put on that psychological test is that if you believe that you know, God is telling you to kill people, you know, strike them off the list, you know?
Yeah, but what if they're bad people?
Yeah, but, I mean, God doesn't tell you to kill good people.
Obviously.
If you're talking to God and he's telling you what to do, then, you know. But, you know, I mean, who are we to make judgments about who really hears God and who doesn't? You know, I'm not going to judge that.
Who's going to stand against God?
I know somebody that believes that when they drink wine, it turns into Jesus' blood, and then they drink it.
And then you would call that person the whole Catholic Church.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, there's only like, what, you know, a few million people in this country.
Right.
But, I mean, cross them off the list right there. Vampires? Nuh-uh.
No.
Nope.
No.
Nope.
You don't want vampires having guns.
Nope. Muslims, anybody that's got, that's ever taken any medication for any mental illness. Because I think we need to stigmatize that a little bit more. I say, you know, if you hunt your own food.
All right.
You got to cross them off
those people
the list.
are a little weird.
Yeah,
a lot of them
animals?
don't shave and
no. They're already bloodthirsty.
So you're saying these people are willing to abuse animals?
Right. They shouldn't have guns.
No.
I mean, I think I could cross off just about everybody.
Yeah.
You know, give me enough time.
That sounds right.
I mean, how many deaths are police officers responsible for every year?
It's ridiculous.
And they're just running around with a handgun like
they
don't even have any restrictions. They carry shotguns in their cars and stuff. Crazy.
Yeah. I always have police officer stories that come to mind, but I don't want to get anybody in trouble. So.
Yeah.
I don't know. Nothing but trouble. Anyway, moving right along. So, yeah, I mean, that's the thing. When you set up some kind of test, a psychological, because that sounds good to me.
Right.
I mean, obviously, I don't want insane people out there, you know,
right.
shooting with guns and whatever. And, you know, a lot of times these mass shootings do come back that, hey, these people were crazy, you know.
A crazy person, yeah.
And, you know, we all agree we don't want that. But when you start setting these lines, you get into trouble. You can't own a gun if you've committed a felony. Well, that sounds logical to you and me. I mean, right. Convicted felon, God, that's got to be a bad person. But it turns out that half of the felonies are ridiculous.
Right.
They're, you know, everybody goes on the internet. You see all these stories. You see, you know, oh, it's a felony for, you know, nonsense. Mm-hmm. And
right. If you're sticking up liquor stores, maybe that's a felony that should get you on the list.
Exactly. And the thing is they don't enforce most of them.
Right.
And most people don't get in trouble. You know, they say the average person commits 3 felonies a day. And it's just, you know, but the idea is they can choose who they want to enforce it on.
Right.
And you can get people caught up in nonsense. Right. And that's where you get down a dangerous road. Now, I think really I wanted to start this all off. I know we've already been talking for a couple minutes here, but basically, why are we so afraid of gun control? Why do people need guns? Mm-hmm. Now, America, they seem to be big on having guns in our founding. Mm-hmm. They seem to think that was an important right for, you know, the people to have. I know there was a good quote from George Washington. George said, "A free people ought not only be armed and disciplined, but they should have sufficient arms and ammunition to maintain a status of independence from any who might attempt to abuse them, which would include their own government." Now, that's a big thing, their own government. Now, everybody acts and wants to forget history, but time and time again, the government ends up restricting guns. First, they have like a registration. Then, you know, you have to license to own a gun. You limit who can own them. And then once they have a list of everybody, they seem to confiscate and take them away. And, you know, everyone seems to forget this, but the Ottoman Turkish Empire in 1915, they started with the permits. Then the government, you know, had a list of owners and then a ban on possession. And then sure enough, in, you know, later that year, they ended up killing 1.5 million Christians, which is ridiculous. Mm-hmm. And they're all defenseless to, you know, to help themselves. Right? In 1929, Soviet Union, They started first, they did license to own a gun, then complete ban on possession. And then, between 29 and 45, they killed 20 million people. Really? And everyone's like, oh, well, they didn't need guns. Nazi Germany started out registration, licensing, strict gun control laws, then outright ban. 20 million Jews. Well, Jews and Christians and gypsies and everything else they didn't like. The Chinese government, they had a government permit system, then complete ban in the 1920s, then 10 million people. Mao, it's ridiculous. And over again, it starts that way. And, it's honestly, it's who we are. And, I know guns are scary. And I know, oh, geez, you can shoot your eye out. But the bottom line, you know what? It's also scary when you have a dictator who comes in and can take anything he wants from you, and you're powerless to stop it. You should be able to protect your family. And it's important. And everybody wants to disregard that and act like it's meaningless. Well, it's modern times, and these things couldn't happen now.
Right. Well, I mean, I really trust my government. I really don't trust the government I would have in 20 years, though. Yeah, I mean, who knows who's going to be elected president next and who's going to be elected after that.
I'm not so sure I'm on board with that. I really trust my government now. I don't know why you think at any moment.
I was trying to sound sane, but I guess that's not really sane to say that.
It didn't really sound sane. And
I mean, the thing is, I'm not concerned that Barack Obama's going to kick down my door and, enslave my family, but I don't know that, the president after the next president is going to be somebody that I trust that much.
Right. No, exactly. And, I don't know that...
maybe Barack Obama is going to kick in my door.
Exactly. You might not make it to the next president. I'm not sure that's, a safe statement to make. But, all right, so moving on. The idea is it's slowly been creeping up on us, and it's getting a lot worse. And, Hitler was very big on... Honestly, he didn't have a lot of time, but conditioning of the people. And I think that's what's been happening, and they basically teach you to be afraid. You know how they have when you harass the kids, you're teaching them in school, you pointed your finger like a gun, you're going to get suspended.
Right.
Oh, you made a toy out of a... Legos that's a gun, or you ate your sandwich into a gun shape. Now, I know these are extreme positions, although I believe they keep happening.
I think those are all things that have happened about getting
on the noise, right?
Expelled.
And that's conditioning. That's teaching you. Oh, you don't want anything to do with guns.
Guns are evil.
And they just build this up more and more. And Hitler did a lot of this, and where they would. If somebody got caught with a gun with Hitler, they would arrest like everybody who was around him. And, it's like, well, you knew about it. And, whatever. But it made it so that you wanted to shun any of your friends that were pro-gun because you didn't want to get caught up in that.
Right.
So even though it's not important to you one way or the other, you get conditioned to be clear. And nobody wants to talk about it. And that's, we see now Facebook's going crazy with, when you say anything anti-Muslim or anything like that, and whatever, and honestly, I mean, I get conflicted there because there is free speech, but also a company can say what they want to say. Say, you know what, if you're going to use my business, if you're going to use Facebook, I don't want you to say anything negative about Christians, or I don't want you to say anything negative about Jews or Muslims or anybody. And you know what? A business should be able to do that, but it's all about conditioning of society.
Right.
And we're all taught, oh, well, don't. And like I said, at the moment, Facebook, they're uptight on Muslims, but it's that same idea of conditioning where, oh, I'll ban your account. And it just makes it so that you're afraid to say anything.
Right.
And that's the problem. And then more and more, it gets, a private secret thing, and then it's easier and easier to take it away from the villains and to villainize anybody. And, and that's where you have the strict rules. Like when they have, oh, well, you can't have a gun in a school zone. So now, am I afraid to drive by in my car with the gun in my car to drive by the front of a school and am I in trouble? Or
I have a friend that wouldn't drop me off at the airport.
Yeah,
I had to get a taxi. It was a good $100 because he was scared to even drive through the parking lot of the airport to drop me off.
Exactly, and I
can't even blame him.
Right, and that's all part of the conditioning. You're afraid to have it anywhere. You can't go to the post office. Well, what a pain in the ass that is.
Yep.
Oh, it's a federal building. Well, why? Why is it so dangerous in a post office for me to have a gun? I'm not the one who traditionally is crazy in the post office. Mm-hmm. It's the postal workers.
It's the employees.
Maybe you guys should not let
have something to protect yourself from the guy that works behind the counter.
I might need something. But it's all about teaching you to be afraid. And, and just the more difficult they make it, we have here, it costs, in New York, it's funny, a lot of states you have shall issue, may issue, all these different things. Now, I thought the Second Amendment meant that I can just go buy a gun and screw you, you know? But apparently it's not that way, and maybe I didn't really think that because I've been taught. But when I read the Second Amendment, that's what it says. Now, in New York, it's a may issue state. And so what that means is if you want to carry a concealed handgun, because and they don't allow open carry of handguns. Right. So
it's only concealed carry.
If you want to have a gun, then that means you need a license. And of course, this licensing fee is $100 just to apply. Mm-hmm. You have to take a test to prove that you're safe and know how to use it, which I don't really have a big problem with. Somebody should know how to use a gun before they go and get a license.
Right. You can accidentally shoot yourself.
You could shoot yourself or somebody else. And, I'd like them to have a basic understanding of the laws. And you know what? If these classes cover where you're allowed to carry and things like that, that's probably a plus too. You don't want people getting in trouble and losing their rights. So that part of it I understand. And then of course they do the background check and you have to wait for the FBI and here we have a lot of nonsense where you're waiting a long time and blah, blah, blah. But it's a pain in the butt. The other thing, you have to put yourself out there where I believe right now they require 5 character references.
Is it 5 now?
5, and I think it's your employer as well. Or maybe it's not your employer, but you have to list your employer and all this stuff is taken into account. And what the thing is, when you ask, that means you're going to go and tell all your friends, I want to be a gun owner. Because they can't be family members. They, these are outside people.
Right.
And
I
that
don't even
really
know
limits.
5 people.
Exactly. And so you're like, well, who do I know? Whatever. I mean, it's funny because
half of my friends are felons and they can't.
Exactly. And then you're in trouble. And when I started asking around, a lot of people surprisingly are like, oh, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be part of that. Mm-hmm. And they wouldn't, come on board with it
because
they're scared of guns or scared on somebody's list. But the bottom line, it's all that conditioning. So one, you're forced to open yourself up and say, hey, I'm a guy who has a gun, which also is like, hey, let's rob this guy. He's got guns. But anyway, and it just puts yourself out there. Now, obviously, you're not the kind of person who would hang out with somebody who would rob you if you should be a gun owner. That's what we all believe, right?
Yeah. If you're going to rob me and I own guns, you're putting your own life in your hands,
There you go. But it's such a slippery slope of everything is about making you uncomfortable. Then in New York, and then, so the thing is though, after you go through all this headache process, you're like, all right, now I've jumped through your hoops, you do your background check, then it's up to a judge or the sheriff. I'm not sure which. But one of them decides if they want to sign off on it. They can say, I don't like this guy, and no.
What is your experience on time-wise? Say you wanted to buy a handgun in New York State and you didn't have any sort of licenses. Like, what's the cooling off period in New York State?
It's ugly, is what I could tell you. All right.
Upwards of
6 months.
6 months?
6 months. So
I have to be pretty angry, man.
You
6 months.
You got to hold a rage for 6 months.
I don't know. Maybe it's not that bad.
Here's the thing. What they do is Now, again, this could have changed. It's been a little while since I've gone and applied. It might be a little different on the timeline. From what I hear in the county next to ours, it's taking up to a year.
Yeah.
So it really does vary. But what happens is I went in, they say, oh, it's going to take 3 to 6 months for us to get back on your background check. And then, we'll call you up or you'll get a letter in the mail and we'll go from there. And, but it says when you call, there's a phone number. You call it, it says, if it hasn't been 6 months, don't call us because you haven't waited the time and we're not going to answer your questions. We're very busy. So I call up at like 3 months when I haven't heard anything and I get the voicemail that says, if you're calling to find out why it's not done, you're in trouble.
Right.
So I'm like, oh, all right. I wait the 6 months. 6 months, I'm like, all right. Now it's getting unreasonable. Mm-hmm. I go in, I'm like, what the hell's going on? And they're like, well, why didn't you call us in 3 months? I'm like, really, lady? I'm going to... So she's like, yeah, they should never take that long. You should have called us and told us. And then she goes, oh, look, we forgot to send your thing to the FBI. Or they never responded or some nonsense.
It's not even in progress.
Yeah, we didn't even nothing. Oh, you're in... And I'm like, oh... But and this is the kind of thing, and it's just all kinds of stupid
if it's such
games.
A pain in the ass,
right?
Why it's like you don't even bother.
Right, exactly, and nobody wants to. So, needless to say, we'll send it to the FBI. They have it back in like 2 days, and they're like, oh yeah, we're good. I don't know what happened and whatever. And I'm like, yeah.
I thought you were on the list for a minute.
Yeah, they were second guessing.
But I do have there's a positive story that about New York State here.
Tell me about New York.
This is our
local sheriff?
County sheriff.
I know all about him. I'm very excited.
Attention licensed handgun owners. In light of recent events that have occurred in the United States and around the world, I want to encourage citizens of our county who are licensed to carry a firearm, please do so. I urge you to responsibly take advantage of your legal right to carry a firearm. To ensure the safety of yourself and others, make sure you are comfortable and proficient with your weapon, and knowledgeable of the laws of New York State with regards to carrying a weapon and when it is legal to use. I also want to remind all police and peace officers, both active duty and retired, to please carry a weapon whenever you leave your house. We are the thin blue line that is entrusted to keep this county safe, and we must be prepared to act in any given moment. So that's our local sheriff, county sheriff.
Yes.
Who's encouraging anybody that is licensed to carry a firearm to carry a firearm.
Yes.
Which I think that's encouraging.
I actually saw that in a post from the NRA, and it said Hudson Valley Sheriff, and he was standing in front of the local police car, and I was like, that's our guy.
Yeah.
And sure enough, I saw later in a post from him on Facebook that I saw that statement and I was excited. He got all kinds of backlash. Did you hear on the radio about this? So
I was sure he would.
Our local radio has a New Paltz, which is a local town here, has a town councilman who posts on the thing, oh, I don't understand why somebody who's charged with the public safety would think that more guns in a situation would be better rather than worse, and that's just going to make more problems.
Yeah. Well, obviously, if you legally own a gun, you're an asshole. Yeah,
exactly. So then some, idiot on their response, which I was very impressed actually, says, well, a gun in the hand is better than a cop on the phone. And I'm like, well, that's pretty good. And then later that day, the sheriff came out on the radio and says, well, my response to that is, as many responsible people with guns outnumbering the bad guys, I like those odds a lot better, and I'm on board with that. I don't know, I'm paraphrasing.
Right.
But, he was definitely on board and held his backbone, and I was very impressed. I've also seen one of the other local counties is actually reduced the fee to apply for a firearm.
Well, what was the death toll in that San Bernardino shooting?
I think we're at 14. 14 victims, whereas
murdered. Well, there's like maybe 17 injured, or vice versa.
Like another 14 or another 14 or 17.
But I mean, if
injured,
one of those people had been carrying a gun, it might have been 3 or 4 or even 5, but it wouldn't have been that many.
Yeah, there's always one of the things when I decide
Never did trust health inspectors, though, by the way.
Yeah, right out of the gate, you see some trouble there.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing is, like, one of the things that inspires me to carry every day is that, I read this article of this lady who was in McDonald's way back. There was a big mass shooting at a McDonald's, and a guy went in with a machine gun and was crazy and was shooting up the place. And, I mean, I think it was 15, 20 years ago. And anyway, she said, I'm a concealed carry owner. I freaking carry every day, everywhere. And my parents were up visiting. And I was like, well, we're just going to McDonald's. And I'm with my parents. I don't want it to be awkward. They don't like guns or whatever. And so I didn't carry that day.
Right.
And she's like, and I was there. And this guy's shooting up the place and murdered all these people. And she's like, and I had about 30 opportunities that I could have shot the guy and stopped it and saved lives. But because I chose not to carry on that one day. And, I read somewhere that if you knew there was going to be trouble where you were going, you wouldn't go there. And so to say, well, I carry my gun when I think I need it.
Right.
That it just doesn't hold. Because you just, these things happen once in your lifetime. And not that you want to be the hero, but you also don't want to get shot, and you also want to save your friends if you can.
Yeah, I've got a big list of things that I've never wanted to do, and getting shot is one of them.
Is one of them.
It's on the list. It's right near the top.
I don't want to get stabbed. I think we actually talked about this on a previous podcast.
Yeah.
But that's not something high on my list either, though. I gotta say, and so there's just so many opportunities. I know there's better arguments. I've been lately, I mean, by the time this podcast comes out, again, this may not be an issue. It may already be a bad thing or whatever, but they talk about putting people who are on the no-fly list, making it so they can't buy guns.
Right.
That's another one that concerns me because when they put you on there, you have no recourse. There's no jury that says, oh, this guy's bad. Or no, medical doctor that evaluates you and gives you a chance to defend yourself. Well, if you're
a criminal, they would have arrested you already.
Exactly.
What puts you on the no-fly list?
Exactly.
It's like the government watch list. But who's actually watching that list?
There's a warrant out for his arrest. Arrest this guy at the airport. Right. Not, So, and you have no chance. And, how many stories do we hear that, people with similar names, different things, Ted Kennedy, couldn't fly, but there may be reasons for that. They don't like drunken buffoons on the plane. I don't know.
I have a friend of mine whose name is the same as somebody else's name and can't fly. And he has to drive anywhere he goes. And
it's, which is ridiculous. But, and then, this person can't, have bare arms when, you have a right to a trial, right? Didn't we talk about this in our Bill of Rights? You have a right to defend yourself in open court. And you don't have that opportunity with the no-fly list. And once again, it's this random, indiscriminate, we'll pick and choose, we'll decide what's best for you, and the conditioning of the people. So, that said, I say keep your powder dry and your guns oiled.
And if anyone wants to take your guns from you, give them the ammo first.
There you go. They always say you should be smart and invest in precious metals. I invest in lead. And, we all, look for the right thing. But, you got to realize there is a reason, and it does matter, and you can't shy away from, your rights. And every time we're quiet, I heard a big discussion that, we used to think, oh, well, so what that the teachers are, kind of overtaking our schools and teaching doctrine, in our schools to our kids. And we were like, yeah, but those arguments, they're ridiculous, or, nobody would believe that. And we just let these things go and go and go.
But 12-year-olds are a lot more impressionable than
they somehow, they believe the teachers over whatever. And obviously there's good teachers. I don't think everybody's bad. But also, it's my podcast. I don't have to defend myself. If you think I'm too mean and harsh,
screw you.
Go listen to somebody else. I don't know. You know what? The answer is I'm going to say things that offend people and whatever. Take it or leave it. Maybe you get a laugh and, laughing at me, whatever you got to do. But, I'm going to speak my mind, and we're not here to apologize. hence the badass
Right.
in the podcast.
Right.
So, that's the bottom line. And just make sure you speak your mind, stand up for what's right, and, let people know. Don't try and be annoying. Don't look for arguments.
Mm-hmm.
But,
be ready to
let's
have
make
one when
sure
you need
that
it.
let's make sure that we argue based on facts and logic.
Right.
Logic and reason is a good thing. And
As long as you're not arguing with a woman, that doesn't.
Danger!
We won't get into that.
Danger! All right, when I said that I wasn't trying to offend people, there are certain things, certain lines we're not willing to cross. We're not that badass. So, that said, keep your powder dry, your guns oiled, and keep listening. Check us out at preppingbadass.com, and have a good week.
Planning a fishing trip shouldn't feel like a full-time job. With fishingbooker.com, you can find and book the perfect fishing trip within minutes. Fishingbooker.com connects you with trusted fishing captains around the world. Booking is fast, easy, and secure, with access to verified customer reviews, loyalty rewards, and around-the-clock customer support. Everything you need to book with confidence is in one place. So head to fishingbooker.com and start planning your next fishing adventure today.